Hi, my name is Adina Mullen, Chef Adina. I am the author and writer, designer of Vegan Flavors of the World, Volume 1, Volume 2 coming out soon. And I had the pleasure of talking with Matthew Gray today on his amazing podcast, 50 Shades of Grey.
I love that. But you said 50 Shades of Gray, which is like something that's like, I don't know where your mind is at, Adina.
You're right, I did. Oh, no.
Well, that's good. We're going to use that.
We're going to use that?
We're going to use this.
50 Taste of Grey. And I even
There
was
you
like
go.
saying, can we bloop it out? You want me to do it again?
No, we're not going to. Yeah, do it again.
50 Taste of Grey. 50 Taste of Grey. Okay, what did I say? Hi, I'm Chef Adina Mullen. I'm the author and creator of Vegan Flavors of the World. It's my first cookbook ever, and my second one will be coming out soon. So please come check it out. I today had the pleasure of talking to Matthew Gray, host of 50 Taste of Grey. It was really a great pleasure to get to talk to him today.
Oh, fantastic. Rock on, Adina.
Thank you.
Chef Adina, you are a well-known chef. You're a vegan chef. And so I'm not vegan, as you know, but I am listening. So it's not like it's going to be a head-to-head today. Please describe the difference between a vegan and a vegetarian diet.
Okay, so I personally think vegan plant-based is just different terminology. They're basically the same. And I personally think that some people I honestly, I don't know why people take offense to the word vegan. Like, I don't know if it's like they're looking into themselves and they're like ashamed by people doing this. I know some vegans are like really aggressive and they're like, look down on people that eat meat products or dairy products. I personally am of the effect that you do what feels good for your body. Like, vegan food doesn't work for everybody. And also, if everybody went vegan, we would definitely have to look into like our farming and everything, because that would be a huge strain on the economy and how things work too. But there is a lot of stuff that does show that like greenhouse gases and the way that they are manufacturing cows and stuff really is affecting our climate. I'm not an environmentalist. I just do what I feel comfortable with. And I have a lot of friends and family that do eat meat. And I just ask them when they come to my home to respect me and to try and bring things that are vegan so I also can enjoy the meal. But I don't stop people from, their choices. So plant-based, vegan, I personally consider it the same thing. Vegetarianism basically is when you bring in any items that come from an animal but aren't animals. So like dairy, milk, cheese, things like that. Which I really think are like the only two items.
I think the reason why vegan got such a bad name is because there are a lot of militant vegan personalities out there, whereas you might not see that. You might not see that in the world of like carnivore eaters or people who eat a more wide-ranging diets. I grew up with a friend of mine. Her name was Mar, and she was a militant vegan. So yeah. She was so off-putting to people that we would just get our big old sloppy barbecue beef sandwiches and eat it in front of her just for laughs. So I think that's the reason why. Now, if you were vegan in your household, is that something that you went to for health reasons, for animal rights reasons? What was the reason that you got into that?
I kind of did it for both. I'm kind of like, sorry, all vegans. I was born vegan. This was a choice my parents decided for me. And then my grandmother kind of ruined it. When I think I was 12, I went to New York to visit her and she gave me turkey for Thanksgiving. And I was like, this is great. And then I got really, really sick because if you don't eat something, your body doesn't produce the proteins and you can't digest it. True for anything. And then also people that have allergies. But for some reason, my parents were just like, okay, well, we're going to start eating meat. So we did for a while. And then I want to say about 13 years ago, I just started having a lot of issues, breaking out in hives, stomach issues, just muscle lockups. And I started having to see a bunch of specialists. And I found out that I was allergic to casein and eggs. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to just cut those things just out of my diet. And then all the problems just kept persisting. Like I would take something out, it would get a little better. And then I just one day was like, you know what? I I do ethically feel bad for how the animals are being treated. Not to mention,
Right.
I over the last like 5, 6 years, what they're feeding the animals, and I'm like, I'm now eating that. So I personally just don't want to put that in my body, and I overall feel better. For me personally, it's a dietary thing, and then also definitely have seen the videos, and it makes me very emotional. So I personally don't feel good about it, and not to say that maybe one day there are some companies that I'm seeing that are making like chicken from the like enzymes of chicken. So they're taking like their cells and then making it in a lab. So it's real
Right.
chicken, but they don't have like a soul or anything. It was funny because I was actually researching it when I wrote my first book, and I was like, should I put this in the book? And then I was like, I just feel like I'm going to get like a letter saying, like, this is chicken. I'm like, well, so I decided not to, but I kind of am keeping an eye on companies like that because I find it really interesting. Because, if it's something that we can do and it's not actually harming animals, I'm like, okay, I could be on board. The only thing I would really look into is the thing is like when you eat a chicken or a cow or something, you're not eating the same chicken and cow every single time. In
Right.
theory, every single time you're getting a different one. That cow ate something different. It's from a different country, whatever. So you're getting different proteins and nutrients. If you're getting it all from one source, is your body going to be neglecting on something if it's not getting what it needs? And that's also why when I personally make recipes, like I don't just use all lentils. I don't just use tofu. I don't just use tempeh. I try and use everything because everything has a purpose. Maybe you don't need as much B12 as like vitamin D, but like, you do need everything. So you don't want to just be like, well, the only thing I eat is tofu because I don't know what else to eat.
Right. Right. So are you saying that perhaps a lot of vegans like yourself would be willing to eat lab grown meat, which is ethically sourced and allows you to have meat products without all of the ethical conundrums that you might face?
I think maybe 50-50. I don't know. I think it's not mainstream. So I think it would be something interesting once it like becomes more popular to see what people think, because I know a lot of vegans that are comfortable eating eggs that are pasteurized, farm fresh, free range because they're like the animals aren't being harmed. And then I know some people that are like, I'm okay with eating honey. I don't think that actually hurts the animal. And then every now and then you'd be
Right.
like, well, I know this farm that doesn't take the baby cows away from their mothers and they only source out enough milk, but the baby cows are still fed properly. So I'm okay with drinking that milk. So I think it's on a case to case basis.
Coming from your point of view, what's the dish that makes people forget there's no meat on the plate?
I have a lot of dishes like that. Like
Yeah.
there's one that I tend to do like for a couple cooking classes, and I've done in some demonstrations because it's really easy for me to make a talk in front of people, and it only takes about 20 minutes. So I make this polenta with jackfruit, like a barbecue teriyaki sauce with bok choy and a little bit of green onions. The thing with the jackfruit, you don't even have to marinate it for that long. You just like add everything to it, and then, or you can buy jackfruit that's already marinated in barbecue sauce if you can find that, or just buy the plain one, drain it, add the ingredients. And it has the same texture and taste as pulled pork. And so people like,
Right.
they don't even talk.
Oh, is that right? So it can actually fool a palate that's used to eating meat because
Yeah.
jackfruit is a very interesting fruit. It's
Yeah.
kind of a tropical fruit, but you're fortunate in that you live in San Diego. Probably jackfruit is not that available in most of the country.
I know that sometimes when I can't find it, Amazon is my friend. Obviously, I live in California, so the brands I use, maybe you don't have. And in my books, I'm like, use vegan mozzarella and shred it. But I don't normally put a brand because then people are going to be like, I can't get this here. So I'm like, in general, just look for this and find what you can. And then also in like the beginning of the book, I have tips on like where to find stuff and mostly it's stores that I know. So if you're like in Indonesia, I'm not sure, but I also like
Right.
Amazon is a great resource. And a lot of it, I try and do stuff that's pretty common, but like for certain countries where it's an ingredient that is very localized to their country, I'm like, okay, well, this I personally bought on Amazon or I found in this grocery store. And here are some places where you can find it.
Right. So when people taste your jackfruit recipe, are they thinking, Adina, is this even vegan? Do they do that?
So a lot of times I'll just cook for people and not tell them I'm making a completely vegan meal. They've
No. So,
even put out cheese platters and they're
uh-huh.
like, this cheese is delicious. What is it? Where'd you buy it? I was like, and either I'll be like, oh, I made it, or I bought it here, and I'll show them the package. They're like, wait, this is made out of cashews? I thought I was eating goat
Right.
cheese. So I think a lot of it, I think also is in the mind. People have a perception of what it's going to taste like. And honestly, like when I go out to eat at vegan restaurant, they got it down, but like a restaurant and they only have like one vegan option, it's sometimes bad. So I
Right.
get it. Like they were like, we didn't know what to do, so we just put a plate of lettuce on your plate. Cool, right? I'm like, not cool. I
Definitely
actually
not.
am hungry. And I get a lot of times like, oh, well, what do you eat? And I'm like, I eat everything you eat. This morning I had waffles. Yesterday I had chia pudding. The other day I had an omelet. I just used mung bean instead. Like just eggs is amazing. I'm like, I eat everything. I just replace the anything that's animal product.
So this has been a learning process. I'm sure learning about what things have certain textures and will take heat and how do you mix them and all that. How
Mhm.
did you learn all that?
It's really funny. Ever since when I was in college, I bartended, and I remember a couple people, every now and then, people, oh, make a drink for me. And I literally was just like, okay, I would stare at them and I'm like, what's your favorite color and what's your favorite fruit? Or, like, what do you like? And then they'd be like, okay. And then I would just start grabbing things and mixing them. And they'd be like, this is exactly what I wanted. It tastes like this. I just kind of knew. And the same thing happens when I cook food. I kind of know what it's going to taste like before I make it. 90% of the time. Sometimes my husband says, don't make that one again. And he's super impressed because he'll come downstairs sometimes and he'll just watch me making something. And he's like, how'd you even get an idea of this? And I was like, oh, I knew we had some leeks in the fridge and I want to use them. And so I created a recipe over this. Or when I'm writing a book and I'm like, okay, I'm doing a chapter on Ireland and I know that I want to do a shepherd's pie. What would be good? And then I just, kind of think it up. A lot of times too, I'll like look online, I'll look at other recipes, I'll do some research on the country, see what ingredients are fruitful there. I don't want to go totally off rogue. So I'll be like, obviously there's going to be some kind of potato in there. Obviously there's going to be some carrots and peas.
Hey,
Obviously some kind of meat.
is your husband also vegan? And do you have any children? And are they vegan too?
So we don't have any children. We have a cat. He is not vegan.
Because they're
I heard
obligate
that
carnivores.
I heard that you can put your pets on a vegan diet, and I'm kind of skeptical because they're carnivores. So
Right.
he eats cat food. My husband is not vegan, but he is when he's at the house because I don't cook him anything that's not vegan. But we'll go out and so like I said, I won't eat his food and he will happily eat mine, but he's an adult, he can make his own decisions.
So when he's out of the house, he's wolfing down sausage and pepper.
Sometimes.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
But it's funny because like sometimes he's like, I seek out vegan restaurants now too.
But he says that because he wants the marriage to work.
No, he really does. He's like, sometimes they're not as good as your food, but it's funny because when he's at home, he's like, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything because your food, like, it just tastes good. And in the end, he's just like, I just want good food and to be nourished.
I'm sure that you get a little bit of a thrill when someone says, I don't really like tofu. That probably sets you going. You'd like, I'm going to make this person something that's going to blow their mind.
Yeah, you're like, well, we'll see. We'll see what you feel.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Well,
definitely fun to watch people like try it, especially when they're like, I would never eat anything that's not meat. And I was like, you do all the time and you just don't know it. Like
right.
you might go, I'm like, you're like every day you go and have a salad and sometimes there's no cheese or bacon or egg or and the dressing is vegan. You're happy to eat that. And they're like, oh yeah. Or like you might have a side dish or a lot of desserts or, whatever you're eating. Like there's a lot of things and people just don't realize it.
What is a non-vegan food that you had prior to becoming one that you kind of miss but don't eat anymore?
Oh, see, I'm really good at making them vegan. One of my favorite desserts is ras malai. It's an Indian dessert. It's basically like you take milk and you boil it with lemon in it. You make the curd, or you can use like
Right.
ricotta cheese or something, and then you squeeze it out. You let it sit overnight, and then you like bake it, and then you add sauce to it with like cardamom. And so in my second book, I actually have a vegan recipe of that. But it was my ultimate favorite. And I really can't eat it because the casein issue. So that was something I missed out on a long time until I figured out how to make it vegan.
Oh, yeah. The Indian cuisine, they definitely have it down, the non-meat eaters in India, right?
Oh yeah, I mean they do have a bunch of meat, but a lot of Indian food is vegetarian. So a
Right.
lot of it's not hard to adapt. You just have to take the dairy and replace it. So some of the items,
Yeah.
like when it's like heavy cheese based, you're like, okay, I got to get the consistency right. But it's a lot of curry based. So, and the cream's easy nowadays. You just like substitute for vegan cream or some kind of plant-based milk. So it's not a big deal. And then like any meat products, I just switch out for plant-based option.
And what is the texture that you chase like a mad scientist that you really want to get down, but you still haven't quite crafted that yet? You're
I mean,
thinking, I got it together.
yeah.
I can do anything.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I feel like chicken's kind of hard sometimes, like getting the texture just right and the taste. I
Yeah.
mean, well, not the taste so much because the thing with chicken is whatever you put on it, that's what it tastes like. So you just be like, I'm going to marinate this. But sometimes the texture, it's like either too spongy or too tough. So that one is interesting. And there's some vegan chicken products that are okay. I personally don't have an issue with vegan meat. In my books,
Mm.
I will use it. And I would say I'd use it in like 1 in 5 recipes because I don't want people to feel like they can't use it. And I want to give people the option, be like, okay, well, here, if you want to go to the store and buy this. The only problem is with some of these products, they're really high in protein, but then there's all these other additives to make it like taste like meat or keep it, shelf stable or whatever, and they're not that healthy. So
Hmm.
I personally don't eat them that much. Like if I go out and the only option is an Impossible or Beyond Burger, I'm like, okay, it's kind of like you're like, I'm gonna have a piece of cake. It's not bad for you. There's just not a lot of nutritional value. So you're still getting the calories, you're still getting some protein, you're getting, but it wouldn't be something I would suggest eating every day.
A lot of the vegan food manufacturers are highly processing their products, which isn't there a trade-off here? It's like, yeah, I'm vegan, I don't eat meat, but
Yeah.
I do eat X, Y, and Z products, which
Mhm.
it's so highly processed, you would think that that's even worse.
Again, not an expert in this field, but when they started, because what's happening is there's this whole new field now where chemists and biologists, they're having them come in at university level and basically make food. Like there's a whole like section on this, and then they go to companies and they like produce, Beyond Meat and different cheeses or whatever. And I think the first thing they were like, well, we want to get all these vegans to eat pretend meat so they don't feel like they're missing out. And so we just have to make it taste and look like meat. And to do that, there was just like a lot of other stuff they needed to add in. But I think there's some newer products out there that are definitely healthier.
What about the people who are out there who say, because a lot of vegan manufactured foods that are coming in that you're not making are done by chemists, like you said, there are people who say, I trust a cow more than a chemist.
Well, I mean, do you trust the farmer?
Well,
Cow
that's a good
eats.
point too.
I would be interested to know what is it about the cow you trust because we've been eating cows for as long as we can remember. And I just question like, is it you don't trust science? Is it a newer field you don't understand that? Because I don't know, I think chemists are pretty smart. So is it just a knowledge-based thing? And also if you eat the chemist food and it doesn't feel good to you, listen to your body. If I eat
Yeah.
something and I don't feel good, it's probably not for me.
One of the funny things that while growing up, there are a lot of people out there who, vegans and vegetarians who eat mock meat products. And it is always peculiar to me why someone who's so against animal products would want to eat a hot dog or a hamburger that's not meat. It's weird, right?
I I do think I think it's like we've just been, like brainwashed to want to fit in. So like you're like, well, I'm going to a barbecue and everyone else is eating hot dogs. I want to eat one too. So maybe
Peer
that's it. Or
pressure.
it's maybe they weren't always vegan and they just love hot dogs, but they don't want to eat pork or beef anymore. Or I don't know, they make hot dogs out of everything now. And they're like, I just want a hot dog sometimes.
So, I'm just thinking here, it's Halloween when we're recording this right now.
Yeah,
There are a lot of amazing candies out there that
yeah,
don't fit into the whole vegan lifestyle.
yeah.
What do you do as far as candies for yourself? How do you not eat Snickers bars and Reese's peanut butter cups?
There's actually a lot of candy that's vegan. So Unreal is a really good brand. They make vegan candy, and then I'm kind of obsessed with Hue chocolate. Like they have like 20 flavors now, and I have to hide
Wow.
it because my husband loves it too. And I personally can only eat like one or two cubes because that stuff is like intense. I've never seen anybody eat an entire bar in one sitting except for him.
Wow. What is it made of?
It's made of cocoa butter, and usually it's like 60% dark chocolate or instant, but it just like it either has cashew milk or almond milk. I'd have to look at the label, but yeah, completely vegan. And then a lot of times they'll add different flavors. So there's one where they have like cashew butter in it and almond butter. They have like Rice Krispie puffs. Like they're delicious. Yeah.
What about the little kids who are going to be coming and knocking on your door in a few hours? What are you going to be handing out tonight from your house?
I do. I have a bunch of vegan little mini sized candy bars, like Unreal. So I have they're kind of like M&Ms, and then I have the ones that are kind of like the I forget what they're called, with the coconut inside with some chocolate on the outside. And then there's ones that are kind of like Reese's peanut butter cups. So I was like, there you go. I'm covered.
Wow. Oh, that's very cool. I've never really known what vegan or vegetarian people hand out at Halloween, so it just crossed my mind.
I just hand out apples and brochures.
So do you cook a little bit differently when you're upset, heartbroken, when you're feeling the love thing, when you're trying to seduce your husband? How does your food change depending on your mood?
Sometimes it's, more comfort food. I just kind of wake up and I'm like, today I want this genre. And then that's kind of what I go for. Unless I'm writing one of the
Uh-huh.
cookbooks, then I'm kind of like, these are the 5 recipes I bought ingredients for. I have to make them. It's usually not so much like, oh, if I'm sad, I feel like I need to make this dish. It's more like, I need sugar today. I'm going to make a cake for somebody else to eat it with me.
Is cake your comfort food? Is that what your go-to when you really need to crave something yummy and special?
No, I'd like to make more like individual sized desserts, and I'm more into like I do make cakes, but I tend to find that they're one of my least favorite desserts because once they're
Mm.
done, you have to decorate them. And then I'm just like, the pressure's on. Why did I commit to this? Like 8 hours later, you're like, I have to make one more sugar flour.
Oh, right. It's a lot
Yeah.
of hassle, isn't it?
I don't know if I have a favorite one, but yeah, like miniaturized things. So like, some kind of Indian dessert or a lot of Asian stuff. One day I was just like, I'm going to make mochi today. And then I was like, cool, okay. Now I have like 30 mochis. We're going on a mochi give out.
Oh, that
You
sounds
can only eat
great.
so many. Yeah.
Do you make gulab jamun Indian
Oh my
dessert?
God, I do. Yeah. That's actually going to
Tell
be in my
everybody
book
what that
also.
is.
Oh my God, it's so good. So it's basically to make it vegan, you take flour and you add liquid to it and you kind of like warm it up and then you let it sit kind of cool. And then whole process only is like 40 minutes, but it takes like 2 days. So then once it's kind of cool, you roll it into balls. And while that's happening, you make a syrup. Then you put them in the syrup while it's boiling. And you basically have to take like a spoon or like a sieve or something, because you have to continuously move them, because they're kind of filled, like they're light. So it's like when dough floats, it'll only cook on the side that the syrup or the oil's in. So you
Right.
continuously have to turn them for about, I would say about 6 minutes. So you're continuously turning them until they turn golden brown. And then when that happens, you take them out of the sugar syrup and you let them cool until they're cool enough to touch. And then you take a little needle or a pin or something and you poke them everywhere. So but you won't see the holes, just teeny tiny, like all over, like
Right.
30 holes. And then you put them back in the syrup. And then you let it sit on the counter for a couple hours till it's room temperature. And then you put it in the fridge for like 24 hours. And then there you go. So then when you like
So for
bite into them, they're super spongy because all that liquid soaks in.
right, it's for our friends who are watching right now. Gulab jamun is sort of like wet, round cake balls that are saturated with the sugar, gooey kind of sweet syrup, right?
Yes, exactly. And I
And
mean,
there are
like,
nuts in there, pistachios and cardamom flavors and things like that.
I personally just like it in the syrup by itself. But
Uh
yeah,
huh.
you can go crazy, do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, it's super good.
Adina, tell everybody what the latest cookbook you have on the market right now that you're presenting to people.
So my current cookbook is Vegan Flavors of the World, Volume 1. It is about to have its anniversary, 1 year out. My second book, I just finished writing it and I'm pushing it to publishers. So if you are a vegan publisher, reach out.
Will that be
And
part two of the
part
vegan
two.
flavors of the world? Uh huh.
Yeah, each book has 12 countries, 12 recipes in each country. So 144 recipes total. And the second volume has another 12 countries that the first book didn't. And then I plan to do one more book after that with another 12 countries. So stay tuned for that one as well. But the gulab jamun and the ras malai are in the second book because there's a whole chapter on India.
Oh, fantastic. So the spices that you're using for Indian food might be what?
We use a lot of cardamom, cumin, coriander. I use rose water a lot, curry, coconut milk. And then for our proteins, just like anything else like tofu or tempeh, some jackfruit. There's one recipe I use tofu, and for the base, for my curry base, I actually use bananas. So it
Mm.
gets it like really thick instead of using like a yogurt. And that one is something I also teach on in some of my cooking classes. So it's like a quick curry that you can make, because some of those sauces, they have to take like a day or two to marinate, but this one's like 10 minutes.
There's probably enough countries out there for you to make 20 books of vegan flavors.
I could. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll just have 1,800 volumes of this book if
You
it's
know,
successful. You never know.
that's
That just
fantastic.
means I have to travel to more countries.
Do you do a lot of travel to be able to inspect and taste flavors and to be able to make your books seem that much more real?
I do. I try and go to every single country that is in all the
Hmm.
books, and it's food that I love to make. So, the one cool thing about the book is, so I thought of this halfway through writing volume 1. So, it's unfortunately not in that volume, but in volume 2, all the recipes have a QR code. So, if you scan the QR code, you can get to my Instagram page and you can watch me making the recipe. And I've had a bunch of people come up to me and they're like, it was super helpful watching the video because you read something and it makes sense to me when I'm writing it. And then some people are like, yeah, it totally made sense. And then everybody's brains are a little different. And someone's like, watching the video really made sense because I just didn't understand what you meant right there. And when I got to
What
watch
a,
you do it, I was like, oh, got it. Yeah.
a cool concept. You know, that's really smart.
Yeah.
The QR code that relates to a video that people can watch.
Yeah, and they're just like little clips. So it's like, here, this is how you do this. And then I'm like, we're going to chop up the onions. If you don't know how to chop up an onion, go to a YouTube video on how to chop an onion. Something
Oh,
more
that's
complicated, like, and this is how we're going to fold the phyllo dough. Like that, I will show you. Like, here, fold here,
right.
then, put a little bit of vegan butter to make it stick, then roll. But like something where it's, pretty easy. And then there are some videos I'm like, okay, we're making rice. Watch these steps. But overall, most people are like, got it, don't need to know how to do that.
Do you get into real complex cooking like phyllo dough and like puff pastry and things like that?
I try and keep my recipes like hands-on time under an
Yeah.
hour. Because I
Okay.
personally know that when I look at a recipe and it's like 8 hours long, I'm like, next. So there are some recipes obviously that are, 48 hours or something, but it's more like we're making a cheesecake. So you're in the kitchen for 45 minutes, but sorry, you have to put it in the fridge and let it set overnight. And then there are some recipes where I'm like, okay, we're making this dish and here's the recipe if you want to cook your beans from scratch. Or you can go buy a can of beans and then drain them. So I kind of give the
Mhm.
options because some people are like, no, I want every single step. And somebody already did the hard work. Why am I going to go and torture myself for 15 hours cooking beans? At some point, I'll probably add some like cheese recipes in there. But right now it's more like just go pick your favorite cheese at the store only because it's super time consuming.
What's the wildest request you ever got from somebody who is going to be eating your food?
I mean, I've had some people that have had a lot of allergies, and that's made it difficult because they're like, we're
Yeah.
vegan and we're allergic to nuts and we don't eat oats and we don't. And I was like, oh, this is going to be tricky. And they're like, but we want cheesecake. And I'm like, really?
It's funny. They can eat nothing except cheesecake.
Okay, let me think about this. Yeah, there have been some where it's challenging just to be like, what can I physically make you that won't be, a trip to the hospital?
Oh, what about there seems to be an abundance of people who are allergic to wheat, especially wheat grown in the United States. Is that something
Yeah.
that you've noticed over the years?
Yeah, I think so. There's this whole thing about like allergies come every 7 years. The whole thing is if you have an allergy 7 years later, maybe just get rechecked. Some people are just born with it. But I definitely think they're doing something to the crops because I know a lot of people that never had a gluten allergy now
Right.
do. Definitely could be some kind of chemical they're using. Yeah.
Have you ever done a
Yeah.
cooking demo on television? Because back in the day when I was doing cooking demos and I got onto television, there were a few times where I totally flopped. I embarrassed myself on television, which is the worst way to do it. So has that ever happened to you?
I have done some. They weren't live. We just hit cut. It was funny because I did this pilot for Eat This TV. They were like, okay, if you want to cut, just like say cut. And so I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, cut. And I'm like, you didn't cut the lights still on.
Right.
I'm like, let's start again. And then, some stuff that I put on Instagram where we did a couple videos, but same thing because it's multi-camera. So you're like, okay, it's great. We obviously, if you don't like that take and we split screens, we can use the other take or blend them. But if it's mid sentence, you're like, we just have to do it again. So there's definitely some videos where I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't walk out of frame, but we don't have the ingredients to make this a second time. So I guess we're using it.
When you're in your kitchen, I'm wondering if you're like me. I love to feed people and give them my food, but I don't want
Yeah.
them in my kitchen when I'm cooking. I don't want any traffic in my kitchen, except the cats. I can't keep them from coming in, but I don't want any humans bothering me or getting in my way. Are you in any way like that?
Okay, it's 50-50. If I'm recording, like I'm making an Instagram reel or something, then I'm like, get out. It's funny because Instagram, like a while before a couple updates ago, it was like if you made any noise in any of the clips, then you had to turn the audio off on all of them. Now it's each individual clip you can change. So people would be in there and talking, and sometimes I like to play music and then the music's in there. So now it doesn't bother me as much. When I'm just cooking, like to do something, if I'm alone, like if we're having like a dinner party and I'm alone all day in the kitchen, sometimes I actually feel like I'm being isolated. So I'm like, people come talk to me. So that doesn't
Right, but
bother
from
me so
across the
much.
bar, right? Not in the
Exactly.
kitchen.
Yeah, I'm like, don't stand next to me. Well, but yeah, if you want to do dishes, like you're always welcome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've always got a call out for people who like to do dishes.
I do have some like clients that I work with and they're like, I love doing dishes. And I was like, here's my address. I can promise you will
Exactly.
always get snacks if you come over and do all the dishes.
Over the years, Adina, because you're a public person and you're a chef, cooking is one thing, flavor is another thing, but then the presentation, the plating, is
Yeah.
that something you've had to continue to work on to make your food just look orgasmic?
Yeah, no, and it's funny because a lot of times I'll make it and then I'm like, ooh, what plate should I use? How should I make this look nice? And then sometimes
Right.
I feel like it's the hardest when you're making something that's simple, like a dip or like some kind of salad, because you're like, well, I can't put like a big flour on top of it. What do I do to like jazz this up? So sometimes I'll just put like a chip in it. I'm like, there you go. Or just get the lighting just right, or just like do dollops of salad dressing. Or sometimes you're like, it's simple. I don't know what to tell you. It's beans.
Exactly.
So there's definitely some where the photos and videos, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then some, all right, well, it tastes good, I promise.
As an observer of food, and I know you are, what do you think of molecular gastronomy? Is that something you've tried yourself or that you've witnessed?
I definitely witnessed it. I haven't tried a ton of it. Maybe I will at some point, but my whole thing currently is like taking traditional recipes from other people from different countries, cultures, and then adapting them. And I think because it's such a new thing, like I haven't had a calling to do it yet, but I've definitely been to some restaurants to do it. And it's a lot of fun. Like there's this great place in Basque region in Spain, and there's a restaurant that my husband and I really love going to, and they do a lot of deconstruction of stuff and then like add a lot of gastro things to it. Like there's one dessert where it's kind of almost like a jello. It's vegan, and they make it taste like a gin and tonic. And like when you eat it,
Mm.
it's actually bubbly. And I'm like, wow, that's actually quite impressive. And they do put gin in it. So if anybody wants to get a little tipsy, I don't think there's enough gin, but you definitely can
You know,
taste
gin
it.
is medicinal. It's actually very good for you, is
It
what
is
I've
good
always
for
said.
you. Yeah, no, especially those ones that have like 30 different, herbs in them. They're great.
Adina, what is your kitchen superpower?
I'm really good at making multiple things at the same time. A lot of people are like, when they're watching me, they're like, how did you make 5 things at once while doing the dishes? Time management. Time management is your friend. Some recipes don't need as much attention. You just put it there and you're like, okay, set a timer. I don't need to come back to this for 20 minutes. In the meantime, I can do this. And then knowing when to stop to go back to the other recipe, because some people are like, I have to finish this task. And then now their other dish is burnt because they really needed to go back for the 5 minutes to switch. I'm pretty good at that.
When you become a chef, you learn how to time, because a lot of people who don't cook don't understand how to put a meal together, because they don't know how long things cook and how to plate it and all of those various different things that you've got in your head. So how do you explain that to people who are saying, I can't even put it together. I can make one dish at a time.
Sometimes we'll look at the recipes together and I'll be like, okay, this is what I would do. And also I would say, like, based off of what you're comfortable with, we could try this first. Why don't we make, if you have enough ramekins or something, we can prep everything ahead of time and have them all in sections. Then you're ready to go. Then start with recipes. So because the prep takes a really long time. So if you're like, okay, well, I have everything already ready, now I can jump back and forth. And also, maybe don't start with 5, start with 2. I probably didn't start with 5.
Tell me about the whole social media thing and how it affects you as a chef, as a cookbook author, as a person who's getting in front of people. Is that something that has helped your career? And do you see that as gaining power and steam over the next several years?
I think it's a good way to get your name out there, because otherwise it's just friends and family spreading the word.
Yeah.
I definitely have had my challenges with it, because I feel like there's some people that are just like, I started this account and I have 8 million followers. And I was like, what did you do? And they're like, nothing, I just post. And then the other people are like, I've posted 8,000 videos and nothing's trending. So I'm kind of in the middle. I haven't found my sweet spot. So if anybody's watching that knows, I'm happy to take all the advice.
Do you have your own website as well?
It's adinasdelicacies.com. There's a contact form page, or I put my email and phone number on there.
2 questions are coming to mind right now. Adina, we're talking about food this entire time, and I haven't even asked you what you've eaten today and what you're going to be eating tonight. So tell us.
Today I had gluten-free waffle with blueberries and a little bit of vegan butter and maple syrup, and a almond milk cappuccino and water.
Oh,
Uh,
no
and
gin yet.
no gin yet. It's only $12.50. I mean,
And we're not into day drinking, even at Halloween, right?
well, I had this interview. I didn't want to be drunk.
Oh, we'll try that next time.
Yeah, I mean, next time we'll do gin talk, and it'll start out really good, and then by the end we'll be slurring, and one of us won't be on camera anymore.
And watch that social media explode. What made your waffles gluten-free?
Oh, they were made with almond flour.
How do you get almond flour to be able to result in a kind of a soft, bready kind of texture instead of like laying like lead?
I mean, a little bit of water, a little oil. Sometimes I'll add tapioca starch. And it usually, yeah, it holds really well.
Cool. Okay. So now what's for dinner tonight? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. What do I have in my fridge?
I think that's really interesting because the first thing I do when I wake up is go back to sleep. But then after that, when I wake up again, I think about what I'm going to eat the rest of the day.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh,
that.
that's amazing. No, the only time I do that is if I'm having an event where I had to buy the food ahead of time. I don't know. It's probably going to be either something that can be transported because I'm going to a Halloween party. I have no idea what I'm going to eat.
Wow. You're going to play it fast and loose. I can see this now.
Yeah.
And you're also taking off to go to a party so you don't have to deal with giving out vegan candy to the kids.
No, that's true. Well, I'll put, we live on like a cul-de-sac up a hill, so we don't get that many kids. So I'll leave a little small bowl out just in case.
Had I encountered bowls of candy, I would look around and then I would dump it into my pillowcase.
That's fine too. Then at least one kid's happy.
Now that we've revealed your personality, everyone is saying, yeah, I got to get this book.
Yeah. So you can find it if you just Google Rachel Adina Mullen, Chef Adina Mullen, and it's called Vegan Flavors of the World. You can find it on Amazon or Ingram Spark. I think some people are like selling it on third-party sites for an insane amount of money. So I don't want to tell you not to buy it there, but you can get it for a lot cheaper if you go to Amazon. I think I saw it for like $110 and I was like, that's insane. Yeah. And so it comes in paperback, hard copy, or digital. So you can get all three if you're, want variety.
And yeah, if you want to give gifts out.
Exactly. And then also some of the recipes from volume one are on my Instagram page. So if you just like scroll to earlier videos, you'll see some stuff. And all the recipes that are going to be in book two are on my Instagram page. I just don't have the book up yet. So wait and see.
How long does it take you to put together a new book? Do all the research and all the writing and all the prepping and the photography and all that?
So this one took about 7 months. And then it actually is taking longer to find a publisher than it took to write the book. The first book, it was a little bit insane because I literally just woke up one day and I was like, I told a friend, I'm like, I think I want to write a cookbook. And then like 2 days later, I told like one of my sisters and my husband. And then a week later, I had already started recipes and started baking stuff. And I was like, I'm going to have this cookbook done in 3 to 4 months. And they were like, okay. And then it took a month to edit it. And then I self-published the first book. So the first book took 5 months, but it was insane. I was making like 5 to 6 recipes a day. So
Wow.
I was like, this is probably a very crazy undertaking. I'm not going to go as crazy with the second book, like 2 recipes to 3. Some days more. I still got to keep the eye on the prize. Yeah. And
Right.
my whole thing is like, well, I have to eat anyway, so I might as well just make something in the book.
Right. So how do you pitch a book concept?
They have like kind of things what they want to see. Like, so you write a proposal, an overview, kind of a concept, and then like how you believe you're going to pitch it, why it's different. A lot of times you'll give like some sample chapters. Sometimes they want to know like what your sales were if you had a past book, how your book is different, and then kind of like your storytelling and how you came up with the recipes. It's weird because it's kind of broken up into like nonfiction fiction. So it's not like you wrote a cookbook. So you kind of have to veer into the lines of what they want. And then a lot of times if they reject you, which I'm learning, I guess for most writers, it's like 80% rejection. And now I understand why a lot of people self-publish because this is kind of torture. But you basically have to do everything yourself. So
Right.
I'm actually very proud of myself. I became a photographer. I took all the photos in both books. I did all the artwork for both books. I learned how to
Wow.
edit a book, which actually props to all those people that do book editing. Because there were
Yeah.
some days where I was just like crying because like I would just keep uploading the book and it would keep getting rejected. They're like, your margins are off. And I was like, I don't know what you mean. I was like, no, they're not. They're like, no, your inner margins. I was like, what? Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't know that I had to be like a book editor expert as well. So yeah, I learned a lot. And then you also have to be a publicist and a marketing, professional. And
It's
basically everything. I have
exhausting.
like 16 jobs. Oh yeah, I'm tired.
After this, take a little break and think about what's for dinner. I make a little ginger syrup, and that's what I put into my gin drinks.
Oh, that's lovely. I
Yeah.
had some bourbon that I got this vanilla bean. I think it was
Hmm.
actually on the Big Island of Hawaii. I've been marinating it for over a year, so at some point I'm gonna have to taste it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely let us know how that turns out.
I will.
So, Rachel Adina Mullen, a lot of names there. Tell us, what are you doing with your names?
Adina is my middle name, and I decided that I would name my company Adina's Delicacies and just use that as my chef name. And that's why I chose it. It's also, I feel like it's a little bit of a more unique name. So like when people are like, oh, I want to find Chef Adina, there's probably like a handful of chefs that come up instead of Chef Rachel, and like 4,000 chefs come up. So that was also one of the
Right.
reasons why I went that route.
Smart. So, Adina, I'm thinking that since I don't have your book, you must have it like within arm's reach. Can you hold it up so everyone can see it?
Ooh, I should have. Okay, I do. Can we like pause
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'll go
yeah.
grab it?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
everyone, this is Adina getting up to get her book so she can show it to you.
Okay. Be right back.
Here we go. So we have Chef Adina on the show, and she's going to go grab her book, and then she's going to show it to us. And that's what we're waiting for here. Look at that beautiful lute in the background. Looks kind of like a guitar. Here we go. There we go. I was trying to narrate the silence, so no problem.
Oh, good.
You were missed, but
I was okay. Luckily,
oh
it
yeah.
was close by. All right. So this is the
Okay.
book.
Wow. Zoom in a little bit more so we can see that. Oh, down, down, down. Vegan Flavors of the World, Volume 1. Is this your debut book?
This is my debut book. Yeah.
Wow. Heavy duty. Nice. You did all that
Thank you.
artwork?
I did. Yeah. And then
Wow.
in the book, all the photos are mine. I'm trying to find a.
Oh, look at that. We're all drooling here. You need to know this.
And then each country has a cover page, so all that
Very
artwork
cool.
is mine as well.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for doing that. I usually
You're
don't chase
welcome.
my guests to go grab something because they usually have their books somewhere nearby.
Now I know.
Right. It's all part of that marketing thing we were talking about a minute ago.
Keep the book just like taped to you.
You bet. So, Adina, thank you so much for hanging out with me here on 50 Tastes of Grey. I hope you had a good time.
I did. It was so much fun. I hope that you had a good time.
Were you fearful in any way that a regular kind of eater and lifelong chef was going to be interviewing you? Did you think I was going to kick your ass a little bit?
Oh, I really hoped you wouldn't. I mean, no, I appreciate you not doing that because sometimes, well, it's funny because sometimes people are like, why are you vegan? And I'm like, feels good for me. And then I've had people that are like, yeah, but do you judge other people? And I was like, I mean, maybe a little internally, but no.
Well, of course, we all judge. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, everybody makes the best decision for what works for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's great.
Right. You're not one of those militant vegans like I talked about
No.
earlier in the show.
Yeah.
So that's
I
great.
mean, maybe I would get a little coordinate if somebody was like really just shoving stuff in my face. I'd be like, all right, well, now
You
you're just being
must eat
disrespectful.
this. Right.
Yeah. I was like, I really don't want to. Like, please stop pushing your fork into my mouth.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That would be an offense, actually a legal
It would.
problem, wouldn't it?
It might be. It might be.
Well, thanks again for hanging with me here on 50 Tastes of Grey. Can I ask you a favor?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you've watched any of my shows in the past, you'd know that sometimes I ask some of my favorite guests to do a little promo that I can run as a promo for the show.
Okay, sure. Hi, my name is Rachel Adina Mullen, Chef Adina. I am the author and writer, designer of Vegan Flavors of the World, Volume 1, Volume 2 coming out soon. And I had the pleasure of talking with Matthew Gray today on his amazing podcast, 50 Shades of Grey. It was such a pleasure talking to another chef and really getting to talk about how my world of vegan cooking blends with somebody that cooks everything else and how we can like incorporate things together.
You know, I love that. But you said 50 Shades of
Oh my
Gray,
God, I
which
did.
is like something that's like, I don't know where your mind is at, Adina, but it's,
Oh my God. You're right, I did. Oh no.
no, that's good. We're going to use that.
We're gonna use that?
We're going to
Okay.
use this.
50 Taste of Gray. And I even
There
was
you
like
go.
saying, can we bloop it out? You want me to do it again?
No, we're not going to. Yeah, do it again.
50 Taste of Gray. 50 Taste of Gray. Okay, what did I say? Hi, I'm Chef Rachel Adina Mullen. I'm the author and creator of Vegan Flavors of the World. It's my first cookbook ever, and my second one will be coming out soon. So please come check it out. I today had the pleasure of talking to Matthew Gray, host of 50 Taste of Gray. It was such a pleasure talking with him, especially somebody that's also a chef. We got to collaborate on how we each cook and things that we enjoy and how we can appreciate each other and our values, and basically just like what it means to be a chef and somebody in the public eye. So it was really a great pleasure to get to talk to him today.
Oh, fantastic. Rock on, Adina.
Thank you.
Have a happy Halloween, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you so much.
Aloha, my friend.
Aloha.